For number 5, if we look at this, you first want to say, can I get everything on one side? And is there anything that I can factor out? So right here we have one term, over here we have another term. We can factor out sine x, so what's left is 1 minus 2 cos x. Then, once you set each factor, here's the factor and here's the other, equal to 0 and solve, you ask yourself, for example, for the first one, where is sine going to be 0? So since sine's on the right-hand side, sine will be 0 at 0 degrees, so that's one of our answers. Sine will be 0 at 180 degrees, so that's our other answer for this piece. So there are 2 of our answers. Now, if we look at the other side, once we isolate cos x, we ask ourselves where on the unit circle is cos, or the left-hand side of the ordered pair, going to be positive 1/2. Well, in the first quadrant, cos is positive 1/2 at 60 degrees. And if we look down here, cos will also be positive 1/2 at 300 degrees, because if we're at the 270 mark and we add this 30, we end up with 300 degrees. So it's 300, and I actually forgot to add the 60 degree as well. So in total we have 4 answers, 0, 180, 300, and 60. For this next problem, we get all terms on one side, since it all says sine and sine squared right there. If you want to pretend that it's the quadratic 2x squared minus x minus 3 and think about it as factoring that guy, it's essentially the same thing. So you're looking for a combo that multiplies to a, which is 2, times c, negative 3, which gets us negative 6. So what multiplies to negative 6, that adds to b, that adds to negative 1. Negative 3 and positive 2. So we write negative 3 and positive 2 over here. Don't forget, once you find your factors, you have to put them over the front number. Simplify, swing out. So 2 over 2 becomes 1. Negative 3 halves doesn't simplify, is improper, so the 2 comes in front of the x. That's how we get the 2x minus 3. So here we go, we're factored, and then we just need to reinsert sine of x in the x spot. So we have 2 sine of x minus 3 equals 0, and sine of x plus 1 equals 0. Remember, because once you have your factors, you set them each equal to 0. Once you solve by adding 3, right, and dividing by 2, you get sine of x equals 3 over 2. Well, 3 over 2 is 1.5. And when you go around your unit circle, your sine, or your right-hand side, will never be greater than 1, and it will never be less than negative 1. So it cannot be, there's no value of 1.5. For this other guy over here, if we subtract 1, we're asking ourselves where, as we spin around the circle, is the sign negative 1. Okay, sine is not negative 1 here. Sine is positive 1, so it's not there. Sine is 0. Oh, the sine is negative 1, right, the right-hand side sine, at 270 degrees. So that's our only answer.